Hey everyone, it's Zay, and today we're going to be going over my small but humble GameCube collection. And at the end, we're going to go ahead and talk about the challenge that I have set for myself. So, as of recently, I have just started recollecting my childhood, and the GameCube was a big part of my life. I only have 6 games in my collection right now. So I'm going to kick this video off by going over every game that I have at the moment and what I'm going to be hunting for next. Now, starting off strong, the first game I have is Rocket Power Beach Bandits. This is a game that my parents bought for me because I was absolutely obsessed with Rocket Power as a kid. I was constantly watching every single episode, and I thought Otto was the coolest person alive. And because of him, I fully believed that I could become a professional skateboarder, snowboarder, surfer, and all the other things that they go through. But I quickly realized that that's not something I was great at. The game is actually a pretty wild ride. You get to switch between all 4 main characters, and the game likes to throw everything at you. There's platforming, combat, skating, mech battles, and even a plot twist about how an evil corporation is stealing all of the water from the ocean shores. The controls are super clunky. The animations are stiff. The combat is very floaty, but it's so charmingly bad that as a kid, I didn't really understand that. And because of that, I couldn't help but love the game just because of how much fun it was. There's full voice acting, unique zones, and surprisingly decent music. And I'm going to be honest, I think it's a gem, and I'm replaying it now, and I still think it's a hidden gem. My hidden gem. If you don't have it, I definitely suggest that you look into getting it. Number 2, I just recently talked about this in my last video, but that's Super Mario Sunshine. I didn't fully own this game as a kid, but when I would play it at a friend's house or when we would rent it, this is definitely one of those games that I could never get enough of. Every time I played it, like I told you in the last video, I would constantly walk around Delfino Plaza like it was open world GTA, and I wasn't ever really trying to finish the game. I mainly wanted to just run around and mess around with Flood and just spray people in the face constantly or consistently get launched by the Pianta. But now that I own it, I'm actually sitting there and playing through it so I can get through my backlog of games that I have. And yeah, this game isn't perfect. It's janky. The controls are terrible. Mario is super slippery. The camera is constantly trying to sabotage you, but at the same time, it's such a vibe. The tropical music, the bright colors, and even the bizarre story of just Shadow Mario. I did call him Evil Water Mario, but it's actually Shadow Mario. It's just so unapologetically weird. I think it's one of the most awkward mainline Mario games, and there are some people that don't like it and who have voiced that in the comments. But it's a Mario that tried something different, and for that, it's amazing to me. It definitely has its flaws, but it's memorable. Okay, game number 3, I don't have to say much. It's Smash. This right here is the GameCube game. For me, I wasn't very competitive and I wasn't very good at the game, so a majority of the time it was played when I had friends over, and it was just a chaotic mess the whole time, but that's what made it fun for me. Those are actually some of the best memories that I have. A lot of the times we would just turn on only Pokeballs, and we would constantly be throwing them at each other and just have a ton of Pokemon on the battlefield. It was fun. At the time, I mained Pikachu, but what can I say? I was never good. There's probably a reason for that, but it's Smash. Looking back at it now, though, I'm surprised at how tight and how fast the game feels. There's really just this crunchiness to the game, to the fighting mechanics, and I think it's wild. It kind of has a combat that I feel like the newer Smash games don't really pick up on, that they just don't capture it. And even if you're not into high-level play, Smash is just one of those games that is just fun and constantly a blast, especially as a party game. Number 4 is Metroid Prime. Now, this game I didn't actually grow up with, and I'm just playing for the first time. At first, it was one of those series that kind of confused me, which is why I think I never got into it, but I finally gave it a chance on the remake for the Switch, and it's actually a pretty dang good game, I'm gonna be honest. My view for the series completely changed when I realized how good the story was for the game. It's quiet, isolated, and kind of moody. You're not just shooting aliens or randomly shooting whatever you can. You're scanning ruins, you're solving puzzles, and combat, obviously. And piecing together the lore and just surviving on the planet that you're on is just fun, honestly. The atmosphere to me is next level. I think the way the raindrops hit Samus's helmet is just phenomenal. It has a very eerie soundtrack, and that's just something that I love. It's all just so immersive for me, and I think that's what is making me fall in love with Metroid Prime. Now, in my opinion, the game isn't super fast-paced, and it takes patience, which I don't have, but it's teaching me patience in a way. Once you lock into the rhythm, it's one of the most rewarding sci-fi games and storylines ever made. I still haven't beaten it. Like I said, I'm slowly working through it on the Switch, but it's definitely one I wanted to own for sure. Number 5, in my opinion, is not a great game, but there's a reason that I own it, and that's Power Rangers Dino Thunder. Wait, don't leave the video. The reason I have this game is because I'm an avid collector of Power Rangers stuff. The Power Rangers for me was a huge part of my childhood. I constantly watched Power Rangers with my cousins. We would practice the moves even though we weren't good at them, except one of my cousins who was in karate, and honestly, he was probably the best. But let's be honest, we all saw ourselves as the Red Ranger, right? Because we all wanted to be leaders. The only reason I really like this game is because you can power the Zords, and that's who you play as, and stomping around a city as Zords is pretty cool to me. The game is super janky, and the controls suck. The missions are repetitive, and just like the shows and the movies, you can tell that they're all made on a budget, a super tight budget, obviously, but there's just something satisfying to me about it. It doesn't really try to be perfect. It's literally made for kids. Blowing up buildings, fighting giant monsters, it's kind of like a digital toy box. It's Power Rangers on the GameCube, and that's all that matters. Now, the 6th and final game I have is The Legend of Zelda Collector's Edition. It's not really a full game per se, but it definitely packs a lot of value in the game. You can play the original Zelda, Zelda 2, Ocarina of Time, and Majora's Mask, all on one disc. As a kid, I definitely did not know that this game existed, but as a kid, I also never played any of the Zelda games. I'm sorry. But I am currently enjoying Ocarina of Time now. I think it's one of the best games ever made. But for Nintendo to put these all on one disc, 4 games on one disc, I think that's pretty awesome. And now that I have it, it's definitely one of the games that's staying in my collection probably forever because it's one of the games that I like the most. If you love Zelda, I'm sure that you probably have this. And if not, it's definitely one to get. So that's where I'm starting. These 6 games. They're all a little nostalgic, but they're a lot of personal for me. So that's where I'm going to officially kick off my GameCube collecting and hunting challenge. The rules are pretty simple. I'm collecting on a budget. I'm going to try and stay away from overpriced crazy stuff unless I find it for a really good deal, but like I said, I'm on a budget. Now, unfortunately, I work a full-time job, so I can't collect in all of my time. I'm not a full-time YouTuber, but it's a start. I'm going to start in my free time, and let's see where that takes us. Now, in every episode, I'll share what I picked up and for how much, and also kind of what the game means to me. I'm not just trying to build a full wall of games. I want this collection to actually have some meaning to me. I want all of these games to have a reason to actually be in this collection. Now, I do have my eye on some of the games that I definitely played as a kid, and ones from my childhood that I absolutely want to track down for sure. Most of the games I do want to find in the wild, obviously, but we'll see where we go from here. Let me just share 4 games with you. Resident Evil 4, because I played that game as a kid non-stop, especially when I got suspended from school and had to stay at my grandparents' house. Metroid Prime 2, because that's one of the games I'm absolutely enjoying. Mario Superstar Baseball, because that was one of the most fun games for me and I'm a baseball fanatic. And Mario Super Strikers. I grew up playing sports and that was one of the games that all of us would play when we were at someone's house. Now, if you've got suggestions for some cheap games or some games that I don't even know about, definitely drop them in the comments because I'd love to hear what games you grew up with or what weird titles I should try next. Definitely hit a like on the video if you like this content, and subscribe to follow along for the journey of my official GameCube collection. I'll see you in the next one with more games to show you. This is the start of the Cube Quest, but on a budget.